Hi friends. So it's US Open 2021 and very exciting times for Novak Djokovic, who is looking to win his 21st Grand Slam title. He's looking to move ahead of Federer and Nadal. Now it's been a long time. It has been 14 years since 2007 when Djokovic really started playing well against these top guys, and now look what has happened. So a very important tournament, 7 matches, and Djokovic can become the greatest player of all time. I know a lot of people already believe that he's greatest player of all time, but a few people still think that the Grand Slam record is a very big record to have. Now, even though Djokovic is tied at 20, but if he wins this tournament, if he gets to 21, then definitely there would be no doubt in anyone's mind. Okay, and not only that, he is also bidding for to win his calendar Grand Slam. Now, this is definitely an achievement that Federer has not been able to achieve, Nadal has not been able to achieve, so that will definitely add a bonus point in Djokovic's career if he's able to do that. The question now arises, can anyone stop Djokovic from creating history? Now, Federer and Nadal are not there in this tournament, even though Djokovic has had a winning record against Federer and Nadal for the last 5 to 6 years or even more, let's say 10 years. But still, if they are in the draw, it's never been easy for Djokovic. He does have to struggle. Sometimes it goes to 4 sets, sometimes 5 sets. So there is always a chance that one of these guys might be able to beat Djokovic. Not this time around. So what it does is it actually puts more pressure on Djokovic now, knowing that there is no Federer, no Nadal, and Djokovic is expected to win this tournament and achieve whatever is on the line. And Djokovic knows that. I think the media, the public, everyone knows what is on the line. So it definitely puts a lot of pressure on Djokovic. So he has to be careful. Obviously, this is a golden opportunity. No disrespect to the other players in the draw. All are good player, decent players, and it's a decent draw. It's not like a cakewalk for Djokovic, but still it's a golden opportunity, and I think Djokovic should be really careful that he does not make any unwanted mistakes during these 7 matches. So let's do some more analysis. So if you look at Djokovic's draw, we can see it's a decent draw. We have Struff, Goffin, De Minaur, Berrettini, Zverev, Medvedev, very, very known faces that we have already seen in bigger stages of the tournaments. De Minaur, Berrettini, Zverev, Medvedev, all these players are good. But I think the firepower that is required to beat Djokovic, definitely Zverev and Medvedev have that. And Zverev and Medvedev both have experience as well. Recently, Medvedev had played the Australian Open final against Djokovic. The first set was really tight. It could have gone either way. Djokovic was better in the end, and after the first set, Djokovic ran away with the match in that tournament because he is just the king of the Australian Open. So it's very difficult to beat him anyway on that court. But Medvedev did play well, and the important aspect that Medvedev's game has is that he never loses, his confidence in his own abilities, and he knows he has got good court craft. He knows what to do against which type of player. So and that is his strength. So if you ask any specific shot that Medvedev has, that is a killer shot, and that shot can win him a lot of tournaments. It's not like that. He doesn't have a specific shot, but all his shots, whether it is a backhand, forehand, serve, are good, are decent shots. And the most important factor is his temperament and his court craft. So I think definitely if he is going to play Djokovic, then he'll give his best. He has already commented that he and the other players are there to stop Djokovic from getting to 21st Grand Slam. Now it's just a comment, but it shows that these players value this tournament, and these players know what they have to do in this tournament. They have a vision that they want to win the Grand Slam and stop Djokovic from getting to the 21st Grand Slam title count. So definitely Medvedev will try his best. Then we have semi-finals, and Zverev I think is the top contender to beat Djokovic. He has already beaten Djokovic in the Olympics. He's a good hardcourt player, even in the Australian Open this year and also in the French Open in 2019, I think. Zverev did play very good matches, and in recent past, Zverev has been able to beat Djokovic. So it's not a clear head-to-head favorite, Djokovic's record, although he's leading, but it's not like these guys have never been able to beat Djokovic. It's not like that. These guys know how to beat Djokovic. They have done it in smaller tournaments, sometimes in big tournaments as well. But more or less, I would say Djokovic is still the favorite. Now, if these guys were to beat Djokovic, what could be the possible strategies that they could apply? And there are two parts to it. The first part is when Djokovic is not playing well. So there are a few shots that are vulnerable. Maybe Djokovic's backhand down the line, that doesn't work sometimes. His first serve, maybe that doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't come to the net often when he has to. He has got chances to do that, but he's just hesitant, or maybe the fitness issues. So all these factors are there which are impacted by Djokovic, which are in control of Djokovic. But if, let's say, all these factors are not there and Djokovic is playing well, he's fit, he's mentally, not facing any sort of issues, then what are the strategies that these guys can apply? And mind you, there are very, very few of those strategies. Now, one thing that I recommend is the change of pace, because we know that Djokovic does not like lack of pace and change of pace both. He by default is a good baseliner. He wants to rally. If you see US Open 2010, 2011 specifically, where I think Federer was almost close to his peak, even though one would argue that in 2005, 2006, Federer's defense was too good, but in 2011 and 10, it was not that good a defense as compared to Djokovic, of course. So if you talk about that, we can definitely say that Federer was playing well. But if you see those matches, Federer was not using his slice that much. He was trying to rally with Djokovic. He was trying to play a fast-paced game with Djokovic. And as good as Federer played, Djokovic was still able to beat him. Even though the matches were close, both were five setters, few points here and there. But it just shows that Djokovic is equal in that category. If you play a fast game, baseline to baseline rally, whether it is forehand or backhand, it does play in favor of Djokovic. So there has to be something different that a player needs to do in order to break Djokovic's rhythm, and that is change of pace. In my next slide, I will show you one of the matches in 2016, just a clip of that where Djokovic's concentration did waver because of the play that Monfils had applied, the similar play where he was not hitting the shots with a lot of pace. And the second point I would raise here is firepower on big points. Now, Djokovic is going for his 21st Grand Slam title. He's going for the calendar Grand Slam. There is a lot on the line. But for the other players, they have this golden opportunity to stop him. Okay, they have this opportunity to try something different. So let's say if it is a 4-all game or a 5-all game, if it is deuce or it's a tie break, then the other players, they have to play big. They have to hit big on those shots, and the players like Kyrgios or Zverev, Tsitsipas, all these players have a lot of power. Okay, so they can hit big shots on big points. It's just the attitude, the intent they need to have, and they should understand that Djokovic might feel a lot of pressure, and it's the best time that they should attack. And maybe 1 or 2 points here and there, if they are able to make, then definitely they can get into the match and possibly they can also beat Djokovic. So that is another strategy, to use big firepower on the important points. Always keep the change of pace, and change of pace has to be combined with slice. Now in the image you can see the slow and low comment that I have put on the slice, and I have there is a black line that is drawn, so that is where you want to place your slice. It should be slow and low, of course, but it should not be too close to the baseline, because then Djokovic does not have to move too much. It still puts him into a good rhythm. and it should not be too short so that Djokovic can come to the net, because he's not afraid to nowadays. He can come to the net, or he can hit a very aggressive shot both from the backhand and the forehand. So it needs to be somewhere around the black line. It needs to be really slow and low, so that Djokovic does not go for a winner or does not go for an aggressive shot. And what it does is it actually gives time to the opponent to get set up, and then the opponents can maybe hit a big shot. We have seen Federer recently apply this tactic a lot. If you see Paris 2018 and all these matches that Federer has played against Djokovic after 2017, you would see that Federer has tried to use a lot of slice, and it has actually paid off well. So that is something that players should try to use, a slow and low slice time and again to break the rhythm of Djokovic. Then the next thing is serve and volley. Now Zverev, for example, has a very good first serve, even though his second serve is not that good, but his first serve is really nice. So what he can do is he can time and again, come for a serve and volley, not on every point, obviously, but something, just something that impacts Djokovic's thinking that maybe, the opponent is going to serve and volley. So it will impact the Djokovic's returning capability. And that is what as an opponent you want to do here, is to try something different. Then the frequent use of backhand down the line. Now this is true for every other player, because Djokovic's backhand is really good. If you try to rally cross court with him, eventually he's going to use his backhand down the line. So instead of him going to, use his backhand down the line, the opponent has to take charge early in the rally, maybe after one or two slices. When Djokovic hits a cross court backhand, he's well settled for a rally. He's well settled to continue this rally forward from the baseline. That is where the opponent can either run around their backhand and hit a strong forehand, or they can just go for a winner, maybe use a drop shot, just do something different, and let's see what happens. Okay, so this is going to be the overall approach, that do something different and see what happens. Because otherwise, if you play baseline to baseline game, it's 99% chance that Djokovic is going to win the match if he's fit, right? Now this is the point that I wanted to show you, so let's look at this clip first.
Well, he'd done enough of the set, Monfils, but he's won the point. He stopped and just walked.
You can see it has definitely impacted his thinking. You can see Monfils, it just looks like he's not even playing, he's just pushing the ball back. Now obviously not everyone can cover the court as well as Monfils does, but still you can see what I'm trying to say. And then a double fault from Djokovic.
Look at Monfils, what's he doing?
And another double fault.
Amazing. What an absolute breakdown, standing around and just bunting the one-handed slice backhand. But he has...
Five love to 5-3.
So that's what I'm trying to say here is, just try to change the pattern of play. You can see another very, very low pace shot. Djokovic has to create all the pace by himself, and it's not that easy. And he has missed the volley.
Got him. He hates no pace, Novak. We know that. This is working.
Now this works for some time, as the commentators have also said, but I mean, if you do this strategy, if you play with the strategy all over the match, all through the match, obviously Djokovic is going to find a way, and then Djokovic is going to win the match. But for some time, and because the matches go for a longer duration, so let's say if it is a 4-all or a 5-all game, and you are Zverev or Medvedev and you are playing well, and if you try to make this change up when Djokovic is serving, maybe a lot of slow and low balls, just changing the strategy, and somehow, just to break the rhythm, you never know, right? You can win a game and then you can serve out the set. So it's obviously easier said than done, but it gives you some chance at least. So this is what I was trying to refer here, that point to point, point after point, just playing the same level of tennis, just playing the same pattern of play will not help the opponent. So they need to try something different. Let's look at Djokovic's head-to-head record with the probable opponents at the business end of this tournament. So if you see Berrettini, Zverev, Medvedev, Djokovic leads against all of these guys. Berrettini is yet to beat Djokovic actually, but if you see Zverev and Medvedev, even though Djokovic leads in this department, but you can fairly say that Zverev and Medvedev have had their share of victories against Djokovic as well, and in recent past, and on a hard court. So Djokovic will be aware of that, and that is why he needs to be extra careful. He needs to play his best tennis. Now, what would be the key factors for Djokovic? I think the key factors would be the same that have always been the key factors for him. So the first thing that comes to mind is his fitness. He has been facing a shoulder injury for some time now, so it will be important that he stays fit. He does not overplay, he does not over practice, and even in the matches, he needs to make sure that the matches don't, get pushed to 4 sets or 5 sets. If Djokovic can get a good start and finish the matches well within time, I think that will be a very, very good booster for him towards the finals, right? And then the temperament. Now temperament I have mentioned here is because we all know what happened a couple of years back when Djokovic was defaulted for showing out his frustration and hitting the line judge. Now there are no line judges in this tournament, so that's a good news for Djokovic, but he has to be really careful what he does. Maybe this tournament will allow the crowds to come in. I don't know what percentage, but if the crowd is there, then definitely crowd usually favors the other players as well, the opponents as well, and Djokovic needs to take care of that. Djokovic needs to be aware of that, and he just needs to think one thing, what's on the line is too huge. He cannot afford anything else to come into his mind. He just has to be focused on one thing, and that is the number 21, the calendar Grand Slam, and the greatest of all time title. So I think he needs to be careful there, not get involved in any unwanted conflicts with the chair umpire or anyone on the court or in the stadium. He just needs to play well within himself. And on the same lines, we can say the attitude. Attitude is more to do with the motivation here. Obviously, Djokovic will be very much motivated because, I mean, there are so many records on the line here, so he has to be motivated, but he has to play with the right attitude. What I would suggest is if he can, he should think that Federer and Nadal are still in the draw, and he needs to play extra well to beat these guys, and extra well to win this tournament. In that way, he can prepare well and he can be focused. If he starts thinking that there is no Federer, there is no Nadal, if he starts thinking that this is a golden opportunity, he's playing so well, I think then it becomes a problem. So he has to be really careful that he does not overdo anything, and he does not underestimate any of the opponents or this opportunity that he has. Then we have the serve. We all know that Djokovic is serving really well throughout his, throughout the last, I would say, 10 years. After 2010, when he had that changes done to his routine, he also changed his service action. So it's important that he serves well, because there are big servers in this tournament. So if it gets to 5 all, 6 all, then his serve should come to his rescue. We have seen that a lot of times against Nadal. So that would be also important, because Zverev and Medvedev both play well. So if they are able to get to 5 all or 6-5, and Djokovic has to serve to stay in the set, then it will be really important for him to hit good amount of first serves in, because mind you, his opponents would be willing to take risks on big points. So it is very important that Djokovic serves well. Then, as always, the backhand down the line, which is important for all the players, not only Djokovic, because it helps change the direction on the point. And because Djokovic has such a good backhand, this shot for him is vital. If he is able to play backhand down the line frequently and well enough, then I don't think there is any weakness left out in his game, and I think he should be able to win these matches easily. So that is another important point. So now, having discussed all of this, the question remains, can anyone beat Djokovic in this year's US Open? Well, the answer, after all the analysis that I've done, is it's highly unlikely for anyone to beat Djokovic, but there is a chance always, because it depends on the day as well, how Djokovic is playing on the specific day. As I said, it's highly unlikely that anyone would win, but if I have to pick one player, I would pick Zverev for this tournament. Who can challenge Djokovic? Obviously, Djokovic is the clear favorite, but Zverev is the player who can actually challenge Djokovic, because he has the confidence that he has been able to beat Djokovic at such an important tournament, which is the Olympics, where again Djokovic was so motivated, he wanted to win that badly, but still Zverev was able to beat him. And then Zverev also has experience of being in a US Open final. He was in a final against Thiem. That was also a very close match. He was, I think, 2 sets to love up. So even though he was not able to win that match, but that experience would definitely help Zverev if he is to get to that semi-final or final stage. So let's see what happens. I just hope that it turns out to be a good tournament, and let's see if the history is created in this tournament. And thanks for watching.